G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Another video with Enno here from Fantasy Take TV. Yeah, I guess I'm going to do a team update as many people do, and look, it's early Jan. I don't really tend to care too much about how my team's looking. Look, it's good to play around with structures, I guess, and see what you can fit on each line, just to sort of wrap your head around how the season looks, how this year looks, all the pricing, all the players. But obviously we need a lot more information on who we can really pick, and obviously rookie's been a big part of that. But I thought I'd just slap a team out there. It is early Jan. I think it's what everyone's going to do, but it is going to change quite a lot, I can imagine, until the season starts. But yeah, I mean, why not? We'll get one out there, see what you guys think. And I've probably got a couple of things that, obviously, depending on rookies, could change the structure slightly, but I'll run through that as I go. You saw my video yesterday, about the 600k defenders. Well, I've actually slapped 3 of them in here, and I've gone Stewart, Sicily, and Dawson just to begin with. I know that's spending way too much money in defence. One caveat will be dropping one of them for a sort of fourth forward, and that's I'll get to that later. But that's sort of the main thing behind that. The guy that's probably more contentious is Jack Bowes, and someone who we don't totally know is going to be best 22 just yet, so you can't really. Can't really pick him with any confidence, but, reports that I've been sent or things that I've read and heard about him at the moment, he looks looking really good and could, solidify a spot in that side. But obviously, being the reigning premiers, it's always hard to sort of jump into a side like that, especially as a new player. But, they gave up a bit to get him, but obviously they got a lot back in return to sort of, get that pick and Jai Clark. But look, we'll see what happens there in the preseason, and we'll go from there. And look, there's a theme that I'm doing the rest of the team. I'm going to spend up a bit on rookies, for now, to sort of, you don't want to just go 123Ks across the board and expect that you're going to be able to fit all these other premiums in. So I've got Goda, I've got McKenna, 2 guys that, have been talked up a lot this preseason already, but obviously still a lot to go under the bridge. And then on the bench, I've got Charlie Dean, who looks like he should get games, and then Chesser as well. So a couple of 123Ks on the bench. But there's other guys like Jinby, Weddle, other guys that, could end up picking those positions, but we're just obviously not really sure yet. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this team and explain a lot of things now because, as I said, it is only, the 11th of Jan, and you don't know a hell of a lot. Clary, I think he's probably one man that I'll be very surprised come, March. He's not still in my team. So, he, I think, is one guy that will really stay there for the whole preseason. The next guy, probably say the same about is Bont. I just think there's a really good pathway to a really big season from him. He was headed that way 2 years ago before sort of injuring himself late, and then last year played through a lot of injuries. But, with Dunkley leaving, they've got a decent crop of forwards now, which they always struggled with, getting Rory Lobby and Sam Darcy, I think is maybe nursing something at the moment, but he looks like he's coming along really well. Bruce is back, if he's an option for them. He should be playing more in the midfield this season, so I think he's a good pick. Jack Steele is the next one who I just think is underpriced for what he can do. I did get him last year, and he did hurt me with his injury and a couple of poor games before having to trade him out. But he's still underpriced at 600k, and he showed the 2 years prior to last that he can have really big years and average good numbers in Supercoach. So I just think I'm going to pick him for the time being. So I actually think those 3 guys are probably pretty hard to displace from my team. The next guy, though, it won't take much, but Tom Green, I think, has a really good pathway as well to easily outperform that price and actually shoot himself into sort of a top 10 mid sort of average. I think the talent's there. The role hasn't always been, but there is a big opportunity for that to be true this year. Obviously, want to see it, but Taranto and Hopper are coming to the Tigers. There's got to be, new coach as well, Kingsley. There's got to be a pathway to him to get a lot of mid minutes. So he sort of showed early last year that he could average some decent numbers, and then obviously tailed away towards the end. But at the ripe age, he can definitely shoot himself up the ranks. Next guy, pretty clear, not too much to say, but, guy I just mentioned, Jacob Hopper coming to the Tigers. He's, way underpriced at 330. He's going to easily out-average that. Make some money, and if not, he won't be probably a keeper, I would imagine, but look, never say never, but he could, I think he will most definitely make us money and get into sort of the 500s and then be able to be flipped. Filling it out, Ashcroft, I don't really need to say a hell of a lot about him. Obviously, some people may be sceptical about his role in the Brisbane team, but I just don't think, with how highly talented he is, he's not going to be getting at least a somewhat decent role in that team, whether it be like sort of the fourth or fifth mid. I still think it's going to be enough for him to average good numbers, and when he plays elsewhere, he's got enough talent to find the footy. Cam McKenzie it is. I'm getting all those Hawks. Connor McDonald, George has got me all in my mind with those bloody Hawks mids, Cooper Stevens and all that. But look, again, this is a contentious spot, but I'm just sort of paying up is the idea at the moment before we sort of know what's going on, so I don't leave myself out of whack with structure. But yeah, obviously just drafted this, last draft. We'll see how he goes in pre-season. I think Will Phillips is another one that's in a lot of, going to be in a lot of teams. Had his battles with injury, but then also, sickness with glandular and whatnot. If he's fit and firing, they're going to give him opportunity. And then on the bench, I've sort of done similar. Philippou, he's spending up a bit, whether he gets games or not totally sure. Josh Sin, will be getting games, but his fitness is a bit of a question now. I think he's sort of 5 weeks or so away from running with an injury. But, if fit, he'll play, but who really knows at this point. And Oscar Baker, another one that sort of came across to the Dogs. But again, just sort of filling out the bench there, not totally caring too much who is in those positions right now. The rucks, big one. It's going to be tough. Going to be in a lot of research need to be done, a lot of watching pre-season. Who's, any clear number one rucks. A lot of teams going to, they look to share these days. Going to have to look, I think someone like a Jared Witts, a lot of people just want to lock him away. Going to play 22, gets most of the ruck duties, but is a lot of money, sort of at the 600k mark. I think Gawn, I'm sort of all just writing off just now with Grundy there. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but I just don't see either of them being viable. Tim English is the first one that's probably pretty viable, but of course he didn't only play 15 games last year, did really do our heads in towards the back end. Then obviously we've got Shrek, who obviously, if you know me, I always love, and if there's a pathway or, no reasons not to pick him, I'm going to. But of course, that still needs to be seen with Luke Jackson, what's going on there. Riley O'Brien, I'm not interested in. Nick Nat, no. Grundy, I said that before. Rowan Marshall's the other one that's going to be in a lot of teams if it looks like he's getting the main ruck role and they're not sort of playing Tom Campbell or doing any funny business. So he's one I will definitely look to pick. And then Darcy Cameron is another one that's getting a lot of love. Similar with Cox, want to see sort of what they do as far as, playing them both. But I think DC is going to be a really good option. So for now, I do have DC at R2. Now, I did say at the start with the defenders how I've got 3 of the big boys. If I decide to go, Shrek and Rowan, for instance, I would plonk DC, in the forward line from the get-go, and then drop one of a defender down. There's got to be enough viable defender rookies to sort of field if I'm going to do that. Of course, it's a lot, way too early to say. So for now, I'm sort of just going with Rowan and DC. Could be Shrek and DC, but that's sort of the theory. And then once we sort of figure out who's the other good ruck to bring in, we can move Darcy Cameron down. And then I think it's Madden, who we've got at R3 for now, the cheapest, and got that DPP. And then really no surprises in the forward line at the moment with Dunkley, Rosie, Taranto, and then I don't have Fife at the in the meantime. Might find a way into my team at some point. Have to see what happens in pre-season. But again, I'm just sort of filling out, Toby McLean is a lock. Filling it out with sort of Bruce and then just some other higher priced rookies who could be options for us. But as I said, not totally worth, talking too much about at this point. I think I had Joe Richards there. Still got 70k in the bank with this team. So, still a lot lot of cash to spend there. You know, it could be someone else. As I said, it could. I think I might have had Shrek in the team that I did before, so that's why there was a little bit left over. But, you know, I'm not totally set on that at the moment. But as I said, with the three big defenders, it could be another way of having it with Rowan in the team at R2 and then Darcy Cameron in the forward line from the get-go, and drop, you know, probably Stewart at this stage. One thing that I didn't speak on and why I don't have Touk as well, but that Geelong and Gold Coast bye, we really need to know what's going on there as far as best 22, best 18, because if it's best 22, you're really doing yourself out there. You know, say you pick both of them, Stewart and Touk, and even a Witts, I should mention. You're putting yourself down on a premium in that round if it's still best 22 or a couple. Where if it's best 18, then it's no problem. You know, you're going to have, you know, enough players to sort of get the best scores and get rid of the bad ones and probably survive. But if it's best 22, you're not going to want Gold Coast or Geelong premiums, and especially not multiple, because you're really going to do yourself out of a score that week, and then everyone else is going to bring him in the week after to get through the rest of the buys. So yeah, got to see what's happening with that rule. But let me know what you think. As I said, very early January team. I'm not putting a hell of a lot of thought into it, but just good to see what the structures are like. Tom Green, I'm really interested on what people think. I know there's a few around that price: Tom Mitchell, LDU, Chad Warner, some other guys, but I think he's the clear best of the lot, in my opinion. If you know, the pathway's there. He's finally got a couple of mids out the way. They were always stacked with him there at the Giants. You know, he's at a good age. New coach, I think, would give him a go in there, or you would hope so. And I think, you know, he showed even at the start of last year, like I said, he can score really well if given the chance. So, yeah, let me know any picks you would stay far away from that are in my team, or guys that I'm missing. But we'll be back pretty soon with some more content. So thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one. Cheers.
Got the mojo deals, we been trippin' like a Pulling out the coupe at the lot.